All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're stepping into a city built on a single, absolutely brutal law. Mercy is a weakness. This is the dark, dystopian world of M Wolfe's romance, Daggermouth. At its very heart, this story is about an irresistible force meeting an immovable object. You've got him, the perfect soldier of a corrupt system. And then you've got her, the rebellion that system accidentally created. Their collision? Well, it's not just a plot point. It's the inevitable explosion that's going to burn their entire world to the ground. So, to really get them, we first have to understand the world that forged them. Welcome to Newfound Haven. It's a city built on oppression and ruled by fear, a place where pretty much everyone hides behind a mask, both literally and figuratively. Think of the city itself as a prison, split into three distinct rings. You have the super-rich heart, the industrial cardinal, and the completely lawless boundary. This rigid structure dictates every single part of your life, from birth to death, and it's all governed by one single, unforgiving principle. And this is it. This is that principle. Just try to imagine living in a place where your every instinct for kindness is a liability, a fatal flaw that could get you executed. This isn't just some catchy phrase, it's the actual law of the land, and it's enforced with very public executions. And this divide, it's not a gap, it's a chasm. In the heart, you've got the masked 1%, hoarding all the power and wealth. Meanwhile, out in the boundary, mercenaries known as the Daggermouths are literally fighting for scraps just to survive another day. A collision between these two worlds isn't just likely, it is absolutely inevitable. And right at the epicenter of this collision are our two protagonists. One is the enforcer of the city's brutal order. The other is the product of its cruelty. They are sworn enemies, each one a perfect reflection of the other's darkest fears. First up, meet Grayson Sorrell. He's the son of the city's iron-fisted president, and his official title is the Heart's Executioner. His whole job is to be the public face of his father's brutal justice, a living symbol of unwavering, merciless order. Now, for Grayson, this isn't just a philosophy. It's a cage. It's the lesson that was literally beaten into him by his father, a constant voice in his head screaming that any act of compassion is a death sentence. He's not just an executioner, he's a prisoner of this doctrine. And his polar opposite is Shadera Cannell. She is a legendary Daggermouth assassin from the Boundary, a contract killer whose blade is fueled by a deep personal vendetta against the city's rulers. Basically, she is everything Grayson is supposed to destroy. For Shadera, this isn't just business. It's deeply, deeply personal. Her hatred is laser-focused on one name, Sorrell. She blames Grayson's family for everything wrong with the city, and especially for the murder of her own parents. So you have an executioner who cannot show weakness, and an assassin who is hell-bent on revenge. What could possibly bring them together? Well, how about a failed assassination attempt and a very, very strange ancient law? Shadera's mission is simple: kill the executioner. But when the moment comes, something goes terribly wrong. In the chaos of their fight, with her blade against his axe, they don't just spill blood, they trigger an ancient, inescapable law. It's called the Law of the Mask. It's this unbreakable rule. If a commoner sees the unveiled face of a heart elite, they're both executed. Simple as that. But, and this is a huge but, there's a loophole, a forgotten clause. The elites can invoke the vow, forcing a binding marriage to avoid death. In a desperate, calculated move, Grayson tears off his mask, trapping them both in a fate that might just be worse than death. And this brings us to the central question of the entire story. In Newfound Haven, loving someone outside your ring gets you killed. So what happens when the state forces you into the most intimate bond possible with the one person you were supposed to hate more than anyone else in the world? But this union, born from pure desperation, isn't just some cruel twist of fate. Oh no, it's a weapon. And the person who plans to wield it is Grayson's own father, President Maximus Sorrell, who sees his son's disaster as a golden opportunity for control. See, Maximus doesn't care one bit about some ancient law. He only cares about power. He sees this vow as the perfect political tool to crush the growing rebellion in the Outer Rings by using their own legendary assassin against them. This strategy, which was actually conceived by Grayson's own mother, is diabolical. By forcing Shadera into the Heart's inner circle, they plan to completely break the spirit of the resistance. They're going to parade her around like a trophy, a puppet, to prove that even the fiercest rebel can be tamed. But as Grayson and Shadera are forced together, they start to uncover a much deeper conspiracy. Grayson has always blamed the Daggermouths for his older brother's murder, but Shadera points out a critical flaw in that story. The contract was way too expensive. The hit had to have come from someone inside the heart. So the president's brilliant plan? It completely backfires, spectacularly. Instead of crushing the rebellion, this forced vow becomes the very spark that ignites a citywide revolution. This is the point of no return. For the people in the Boundary and Cardinal Rings, seeing one of their own, a Daggermouth no less, survive an attack on the air and actually infiltrate the heart isn't a sign of submission at all. It's a sign of hope. It proves the system is not invincible. Shadera's failed assassination becomes this monumental act of defiance. It sends a shockwave across all three rings with a single, undeniable message. The untouchable ruling family can bleed. What starts as pure hatred and mistrust between Grayson and Shadera slowly evolves into this fragile, deadly alliance. Together, fueled by conspiracies and a shared desire to see the president fall, they become the catalysts for the complete and total collapse of the Cyril dynasty. In the final moments, as President Maximus lies defeated, he begs for the mercy he has always denied others. And in a stunning twist, it's his own wife, Alara, who delivers the final blow with these chilling words, reclaiming the city's core law for herself. And so, our explainer leaves us with one final, provocative question. The Cyril regime is destroyed, sure, but the system remains. The city is in chaos. When a tyrant is finally brought down, what comes next? And who is left to pick up the pieces?